beep, beep. What is up, guys? My name is Sam World, and I make sound design and music production videos here on YouTube. Now, in today's video, guys, we're going to start episode 2 of the Start to Finish series for Melodic House. In the first episode, we essentially created the idea, the chords, the melody, and we added a bit of drums that we're going to kind of go with. And we have something that sounds decent, essentially, and you could say an 8-bar loop, which sounds like this. So that's a little snippet of it. Now, in today's episode, my idea is to finally create the intro of the song. Now, again, we're not going to be creating a DJ intro of sorts because I feel like these kind of tracks for me, the way I like to hear them are with the radio edits or the Spotify version. So we're going to go with that. So the idea now today, and our goal today, is going to be to create an intro. And when you're working on music, I feel it's good to set yourself goals on what you want to achieve on the day. With that being said, guys, if you want to support the channel, make sure to head over to evilsounds.com. The sound bank and samples we are using as the main sample pack for this video is the New Explorations Volume 2. I will supplement with other packs as well if needed. But other than that, let's get started here and see how we're going to process and arrange this track out. Alright, guys, so here we are inside of Ableton with essentially our 8-bar loop. It might be 16, but the melody does have some variation and whatnot. Now, from here, I always advise that people always start to arrange the track out once you have an 8-bar loop, because it can get easy to just hear it on repeat and keep adding stuff to it. I feel like it's much more better to start arranging the song out because you're going to get ideas as you go along that you can always add to essentially tie the intro, the break, the drops together. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we're going to start the intro here, and that's why I've moved over here our idea from over here to here just for now. We might move it a little bit more just to make room for ourselves, but essentially the goal is to get to this in a meaningful way. Okay, so with the intro, the best tip I can give people is always start as minimal as possible. Remember, you should make it a journey and experience as you introduce these elements. You shouldn't just come out balls deep, throw everything on the track and expect people to not get tired of it. You have to make every time you maybe progress the melody or you bring in new chords or you finally give the full out chord progression, it should be an experience. You should create tension and you should break it. And when you break it, that's when you start to introduce new elements, as you're going to see. So the first thing we can do is probably, you know, minimize the piano, make it more minimal, get rid of our chords, and maybe just utilize a piano that's going to start the song off with a very dark, deep sort of tone. So the easiest thing to do here is just to get rid of these and have this. From there, we can maybe experiment octave down, which sounds pretty nice. Okay, so from there we have that. Now my idea would be at some point during this break, the piano or intro, the piano has to be introduced in the way that we're going to hear it in the song. From here, obviously I am starting with very deep piano and I'm not going to want to use the bass till the drop. So I'm going to create essentially a bass for the piano here. So we're just going to do that real quick. Okay, so here maybe I'll play a little bit with these velocities of the low end because they are a little bit too loud, so we're just going to highlight. And again, velocities, you can kind of think of it as volume or how hard that key is being played. So this pianist has a lot of fingers, that's for sure. Okay, cool. So I think the first thing to do would probably be to add our atmosphere. Again, we want to think of it in a more minimalized format. So maybe we can grab part of this vocal and loop it constantly. So this is going to be our atmosphere. So maybe we can create an intro atmosphere for this. So an idea would probably be to grab part of this vocal that we can loop. So it looks like maybe something like that. And we could try it here. Okay, and my idea always with creating like these atmospheres and stuff is to always have at least something that ties them together. So we are going to create a group for the atmosphere here, and probably put the vocal hall on here and also the echo, which does have some automations, which we're going to have to play with, of course. All right, so let's see how this is going to sound like. We're definitely going to need some echo on that to mask again that change. So okay, so we are going to have to put in work for the atmosphere. Let's see what we can add to it to make it a little different. There's a plugin from Native Instruments which I might try to use called Replica, which I did use for some of the atmospheres I created for this pack. So let's see if we can find a patch that can make our lives a little easier here. We could try maybe synth and keys and see if any of these will create like a nice sort of nice thing. Okay, that sounds good. So I like the idea of having a atmosphere like that until we can progress further in the song and maybe utilize the main atmosphere that we have here. So let's hit save on this just in case we crash. Okay, cool. Another thing to add is probably a bit of texture. So one of the easiest things to do is to add like a tape plugin that's going to give noise, or a form of atmosphere that has a bit like crackles in it.
Hey, how are you?
This is the end.
Here's one that we can use from a pack, I believe it's called Origin of Sound. So they make really good stuff, like chill stuff that I like to utilize a lot. So this one I do not want it to sound that dry, so we're gonna put it in another separate channel, crackle, and then we just gotta level it a little better. Okay, so that's good. From there, obviously, we do need to come in with our main lead, a simplified version of it. So obviously the main thing we could do is just have this initial. Okay, but we got to do it in a more interesting way. And one of you guys did leave a comment that we should open the cutoff on the lead up and down, similar to a Sam Feld song, which I agree with you. We'll probably save that for the drop, though. In this section, we do want to kind of change the lead, so we're going to have to create some automations with it. So I guess we do have a couple of mods here that I didn't use for this sound, so we can use them ourselves. But it looks like here we can drop maybe the sustain down and make this just a little bit more, and not open up as much would be another ideal thing. So we would have to move the cutoff. And maybe the sustain shouldn't go down all the way. It doesn't sound that great. Something like Swords would be nice. And then just have... Okay, so from here, I am going to configure the cutoff. Obviously, you know what? I'll probably just do sustain and decay on my own there, as we do have it just envelope 1 controlling the cutoff of the sound, which opens it up. So I think this is good. Can play with this. Of course, we're going to utilize an EQ to close it and automate that. And then maybe here, bring in the big boy. Okay, so this needs more of an impact, so I feel like maybe we can make these guys. There we go. That sounds so much better. Okay, let's maybe color this differently just so we know. We'll color this black just because it's the low depths of hell. This sound that we have here, the atmosphere should be a little bit more close. And then here we should have something that's going to signify a change that will occur in the song, so that when we finally get, it sounds like very like, it's that feel. So this is all tension until we finally release it here. And then again, we're going to create tension to move to the drop. So here now we need a new sound that's going to kind of create, I guess you could say as a transitional element that lets the listener know subconsciously that something is going to happen. So we can use a lot of things. And that's the cool thing about music production is, you know, you could find interesting instruments. You could do the same old like stuff you like. That's the beautiful thing when it comes to production, where you can start to get creative. For us, we're going to try and keep it as simple to move things faster. So let's see if we can maybe find a patch which we can utilize just to kind of create maybe some additive interest, and at the same time help with that transitional problem we have there. I'll probably go to the Earcandy section of the pack and do something cool. Okay. Maybe we can even try playing around with having MIDI just do this. Again, we want to make a big change there, so. Maybe some noise could also help. And then. Okay, so for that, let's see if we can find some like pleasing noise. I made a couple with like analog bass plugins like Diva and a lot of the Arturia Mini V stuff, just to kind of get the noise to sound some sorts of that. Like we don't need anything long. Okay, let's go there. Ole, that's loud. Good thing I paused it. Maybe we'll do reverse, but this has to be, yeah, and that's the cool thing about samples, right, is that we can shape them to what we need. So maybe like this. Maybe a little shorter. Let's see. Come on, baby. We need to put in work for this to work. Shorter. Okay, and then we do need the release, so we're gonna reverse this into it. Now for the crash, maybe we don't need it. And then maybe something less. Maybe we can reverse this. Hat. And don't worry, guys, we're gonna organize this once we figure out what we want, okay? So just reverse. And then nothing too fancy, just I'm not a fan of how wide that crash sounds for me, so I'm gonna mono it. The main reason is I kind of want it to open up, not be like wide and then so that's maybe something we could try. Let's go left channel only. And then just okay. Okay, again, the change is not strong enough, so again, we need to figure out how to get it to sound like that. So again, problem solving, just figuring out what we can do. Again, I'm relying a lot on these sounds. Maybe we could do some like nice bells. No, we don't want melody though, that's the thing. That could be a good idea. And then maybe this guy. Again, just bringing that in. This doesn't sound right, so again, we're just gonna leave it like so. So what I think I'm gonna do is just have this kind of switch between these guys to keep it interesting and move it forward. We don't want to hold out too long either. Beautiful. Okay, so we do need to start bringing stuff in again. So maybe we can bring in a pad now, which can also maybe come later on in the drop of the song, in the main idea of the song. Okay, let's see. Maybe I like the idea of this, but again, I'm also thinking about the sound, the mix of the track. So I have a lot of sounds taking up space as it is already, so I really have to think about where I'm. So I have to restart the camera there. But anyways, from the strings, I'm just gonna grab the chords and maybe find like a melody I can use that can go on top of this. So we're gonna zero this out. We don't want to use all the notes. We have a lot of chords as it is already, so let's keep it simple. So the first chord we have is D sharp. So maybe we can start with D sharp or the 11th, which is a C sharp. And every time it changes, we'll follow it. So from C sharp, we do go to the B. So the B is here, and then we have this, we have G, so maybe we could go G sharp. And then A sharp maybe would be a good one. But this time, again, but let's maybe add variation now. Maybe this time we'll go to D sharp. And then down to F sharp to meet with the chord. Okay, now we have that. Let's see if we can. Again, maybe we need something simple. The chorus, probably get rid of that. I kind of want it monophonic, so let's see if we can maybe put these to 1 and it sounds. Sounds nice. Okay, so a little thing for you guys here that are watching the stream, the start to finish, okay? As a sound designer, one of the things you learn, which is super cool once you get more adept at, is the idea that if you have a stereo sound and you have the patch, rather than utilizing like the utility in Ableton to mono it, it's always better to program it into the synth. You get a way cleaner response, and I think it's always better. Now I'm going to get rid of the noise on this patch because we already have crackle and all that, so there's no need for it. From here, I am lowering down the unison to 1, as this is what's giving width. What Ableton does when you detune is that it grabs those 4 voices that you're putting in the unison from this oscillator, and it pans left and right, and it also changes the fine tune, creating width. The problem with that is that I want it to be in the center, so that's why we're going to go this way. Da-na-na. Okay, from here, we're gonna drop the song at this part. Okay, so my idea is to drop it here so that we drop into it. So that would be another. So we're gonna put. Okay, let's see where it goes. Let's hear it so far what we have. I do think we need to find a more interesting way to start the song. So maybe I'll shift this to the right when needed. That's getting too emotional, man. Let's lower that down. Okay. I like it. But we do need to maybe add more delay to this guy here. Let's feedback it higher. And maybe more, just so that's not so strong. Anytime you overdo the delay and reverb, you kind of numb the sound a bit. In this instance, it's a little worth it. Now this crash is a little too strong. Let's lower it. Again, that crash that is responding to our initial reverse crash does need to kind of follow the same format. So we're going to mono it as well to the left. And maybe add a bit of like, so it's not so, but just slight. Cool. Now, again, a new problem that arises here is how do we transition to the drop, and if we even need more here. So again, just kind of hearing it and coming up with ideas is the name of the game. Okay, now let's do that. And then obviously we're going to go into the drop. But for the drop, we'll see if the chords are needed to begin it. Just go straight into it. Okay, don't worry. The cutoff, it's going to be, we have to play around with it. No, we went too far, dude. Fuck. So we're going to have to execute that drop properly, and we need to figure out how to do that. So again, just kind of... Okay, Okay, so that's the idea so far. Obviously, there's still a lot to do, but at least we know the direction we're taking this. And this is a cool thing, right? I'm going to come up with ideas here that I can always use later on in the part of the song. So let's see. Again, just kind of trying to improve on this. So we can maybe introduce it here. And the cool thing about that is that solves the issue and the problem of the fact that it sounds weird when we start doing the duh. But since we had the close hat and open hat there, I think it works really well. So again, now the issue here is how do we crescendo this, make it big, 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 and then drop into it in a very pleasing way. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, just again, keep this going. Gonna lock it so the automations don't pass over. Don't worry, I know, sounds a little dry, but trust me, we're getting there. Automations, again, will make this come to life, and that's something I hope that you guys get from this series. I mean, literally, we're doing a bunch of automations here, okay? So probably add a second additive lead, so this will be to not use the same one. We can use this one again maybe later on in the song, but now let's see if we can use another one here. Could be anything really. The Nora and Pure whistle. Maybe a rain stick would be a good idea, and there's only one pack I have that has a damn rain stick in it, and that's going to be the Cymatics. I believe it's the Infinity pack. I bought it a while back. Maybe we can add something to it to make it sound good. You could try Replica again if it doesn't crash my damn Ableton again. It crashed it, so I had to edit that part out of the video. Let's see, something interesting. Special effect. That works. No, it doesn't, but it's just an idea. The Swarm? Maybe a little. We're gonna lock this just every time we switch. Again, we're just using that to create something new. I kind of like the idea of that, but maybe with bigger feedback. We'll see what we do with the automations on the lead to make it feel more alive effects and stuff. But for now, just kind of getting an idea. I like the idea of the shaker slowly starting to come in, not like straight up coming in there with everything, but just slowly coming in would be a nice idea. So we'll just... And I think I'll just have a crash to signify that. Maybe even this one, see how that sounds like. So... Okay, cool. So far we have our intro and it's sounding interesting and it has some good interest, tension breaking and whatnot. So we're going to leave it as is, just command save, and we're going to stick to that. The mix is definitely going to be a little difficult in those sections, but we'll try our best, obviously. It's just making room for everything. I know I want to have these things. From there, as the song progresses, if I come up with like a really cool shot that I can use in the drop for like maybe a transition or something, I'll use it in the break in that section where I was trying to find something for the... where the melody finally starts to come in. Other than that, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed watching, and hopefully this gives you ideas and at least kind of shows you a little bit of how you want to start the song, keep it interesting, and how you can bring in and create crescendos that sound decent. With that being said, if you want to support the channel, make sure to head over to evilsounds.com. Check out the Exploration Volume 2 series if you like any of the sounds you heard in this video. And other than that, you guys take care and peace out.